Welcome to the February 11th, 2025 City Council meeting. Roll call, please.
Mayor Webb.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Nick
Here.
Councilmember Longo.
Here.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Here.
Councilmember Washington.
Here.
And approval of the revised agenda, please.
Move approval of the agenda as revised.
Support.
We have an approved agenda. Any dissension or changes to it? I hope I missed that one. Special presentation for the resolution proclaiming Black History Month. Mr. Klobuchar.
City of Hazel Park, a resolution proclaiming Black History Month. Whereas during Black History Month, we celebrate the many achievements and contributions made by African Americans to our economic, cultural, spiritual, and political development. And whereas Black History Month grew out of the establishment in 1926 of Negro History Week by Carter G. Woodson and the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. And whereas the observance of Black History Month calls our attention to the continued need to battle racism and build a society that lives up to its democratic ideals. And whereas the City of Hazel Park continues to work toward becoming an inclusive community in which all citizens, past, present, and future, are respected and recognized for their contributions and potential contributions to our community, the state, the country, and the world. And the City of Hazel Park is proud to honor the history and contributions of African Americans in our community throughout our state and nation. So, now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Hazel Park does hereby proclaim February 2025 to be Black History Month, as we encourage all citizens to celebrate our diverse heritage and culture and continue our efforts to create a world that is more just, peaceful, and prosperous for all.
Thank you. So we make the proclamation Black History Month, February. Open up to civic announcements. Anywhere civic announcements? Civic announcements.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to remind everybody that the Hazel Park firefighters, Local 1414, are having their 18th annual Stop, Drop, and Bowl on Saturday, February 22nd at the Madison Park Bowl. $25 per person, $100 to sponsor a lane. Check in at 3 o'clock, bowling at 4.
Okay, thank you.
I have a civic announcement.
Sure.
Pardon me, on behalf of the Hazel Park Arts Council, we are announcing in celebration of Black History Month, we're announcing our Juneteenth scholarship that will run, applications open February 13th and they go through May 1st. This scholarship is something that we do yearly. We had previously been announcing it in June, but realizing that at the end of the year it was hard to catch our students. So we decided to incorporate the celebration during Black History Month and start that early this year or in celebration this month. This scholarship is open to currently enrolled high school juniors and seniors in both Ferndale and Hazel Park schools. This is in collaboration with the sibling city events that we do with Ferndale. Information about the scholarship can be found at hpart.org, and you will start to see some posters in the area. There'll be one at the library and one here at City Hall. If you have any questions, you can also email info@hpart.org. Thanks.
Also, Mr. Mayor, I want to remind everybody the annual Hazel Park Promise Zone dinner is February 24th, Monday. Cost of tickets is $75. Tickets are available on the Hazel Park Promise Zone webpage. This is a great event that supports a very noble and worthy cause, the Hazel Park Promise Zone, which ensures that every student from the Hazel Park District that goes to Hazel Park schools has a chance and an opportunity to attend college. So, again, it's been one of my most important charities that I participate in fundraising for, and I would encourage everybody to please support that. And then finally, I want to alert the residents of Hazel Park that we are facing some snow in our forecast this week. And I want to let everybody know that if we get in excess of 4 inches of snow, it's likely we will call a snow emergency. So pay attention to the Facebook, to the website. We will also notify you via Nixle if you've signed up. So I encourage you to sign up so you can get important updates about city events and situations. And we look forward to keeping you updated on this. But if we do declare a snow emergency, it is vitally important that you remove all cars from the street. So I thank you in advance for your cooperation.
Just a reminder that there is parking at the high school in the back of the lot. The areas are marked with signage, thanks to an agreement between the city and the schools for snow emergency parking for people who may not have a driveway.
Also, after Scout Park is plowed, you may park in Scout Park. After Kennedy Park is plowed, you may park in the parking lot at Kennedy Park. After Green Acres Park is plowed, you may park in the parking lot at Green Acres Park. So we're doing all that we can to create as much off-street parking as we can for folks in the neighborhoods. We realize it's an inconvenience, but there's simply no way to adequately clear the streets if there are vehicles parked on the street.
Okay. Any other? Once, going twice. All right. Closed civic announcements. Public discussion. We have 3 here. Chris McLaughlin.
Hi, my name is Chris McLaughlin, and I serve as the state director for an organization called the Secular Alliance of Michigan. And it is an alliance of non-religious organizations across the state. Before I get too far into this, I just want to let you know that I'm not here to express any particular grievances. We're not angry. The city of Hazel Park hasn't done anything, as far as I know, to offend any of my constituents. But let me tell you a little bit about who those constituents are. Those are the 17% of Michigan residents who are not religious. And that can be broken down into about 3 to 4% of people who are self-described atheists, another 3 to 4% who are self-described agnostics, and then there's another 10%, which is kind of a new category. It's called nuns, N-O-N-E-S, not like the religious nuns. These are the non-religious nuns. And these are people who are not religious and not interested in religion. There is another category that's broken out of the nuns. It's another 1% of people who are not religious but are interested in religion. So sometimes you'll get people erroneously call the nuns people who are, say, seeking, like they might be God believers, they might be religious in some way, but they're not really. But these are people who that 1% is those people who might be religious, who might actually be religious. The other 16 to 17% are just people who are just not religious in one way or another, and that puts them on par with the number of people in Michigan who are self-described Catholics, and also with the number of people who are self-described mainline Protestants. So the thing that I wanted to come here and sort of enlighten you about is just the lack of representation that we see. Again, there are more self-described atheists and agnostics in Michigan than there are self-described Jews and Muslims. And yet we hear almost nothing about the non-believers in government, in the media, and anything like that. And so I just wanted to raise your consciousness that we're out there, and that there are some things that we tend to care about. In fact, we non-believers tend to be very sensitive about secularism, right? Which is, when I say that, I mean the separation of state and church. We're very sensitive to that. Whereas some religious believers are okay with things like prayer to begin state legislative sessions, or even here in our county commission, they start out with a prayer. We see that. We see that as something that sort of goes against our beliefs, that doesn't represent us. So
I'm sorry,
thank you.
time has expired.
That's okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim Kleiner.
All right.
Name and address, please.
Jim Kleiner. I live in Ferndale. It's at 340 Allen. First off, I love the way that you guys started the meeting. It was about a lot of inclusion, so it was great to hear. We actually go around to a lot of these different city council meetings and talks, so there's like a few of us. You might hear some repeat things, but it might seem kind of like out of left field, and we're so used to getting eye rolls all the time, and it's very important that we just pretty much come out and say that, we are non-religious. I'm an atheist, and that's just one of the many hats I wear. Like, I'm a mortgage broker, a real estate agent, I'm a husband, I do a lot of other things. I'm a master's student, and it's important for us to come out and say that because we have a culture. We have to have our own kind of coming out. Like, people might not really know us, so we're trying to get out there in the world. And, people don't know that we have a culture or think we have rules or community. And we do. And we're just here to show that we're normal people, just like everybody else. And, we need to step out of the shadows and in the spotlight and just be known and be seen. So we want to be part of the community, part of the world, be recognized for contributions that we've given to the world too, and just have representation like anybody else. So some things about us, we typically champion science, nature, reason, thought, and we have morals, we're good people, we have culture, we have spirit, and we don't want people to be afraid of us just because we're misunderstood. We usually do Ask an Atheist at social events so people can get to know us better and we can just kind of get out there and, people fear what they don't understand. So we're trying to get ahead of that and encourage people to meet us and talk to us and ask questions and just know that we're good, peace-loving people. We, as an atheist, we fight for secularism, not atheism itself. We're not trying to convert anybody, but secularism, it's a middle ground. We just want to make sure that things are fair for everyone. Keep religion separate from government, school, politics. It's okay to believe in things, but they don't need to be pushed better, more so than other things. So we're just trying to make sure everything's equal. We talk about the Constitution so much in this country, and that's what it was founded upon. If you saw in Allah we trust on your money, you might be offended, and that's the world that we live in every day. Money didn't even have pledge of under God on it until the 1950s because of communism scares. And it wasn't even added into the Pledge of Allegiance until 1950s as well. So the majority of time our money and the Pledge of Allegiance didn't even have that in there. We talk about our history all the time, and we've really just strayed a lot far from what our founding fathers set up for us. And we just want to get out there and make sure people know the history. Even right now we're seeing a lot of rights being taken away from people and other minority groups. So just wanted to get out there and, anyways. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is it okay to sign up for one more that's on the way?
No.
Started.
It will probably pass.
If he walks in, or whoever it is walks in, they can speak.
Okay, thank you.
Tamara Buchanan.
Hi. Honorable members of the City Council, thank you for your attention you provide me. I am here as a member of the diverse, broader community and as an atheist, one of many in this community. Yes, we are your neighbors, your coworkers, your friends, and your constituents. Yet all too often, secular voices are overlooked in discussions about policy and representation and inclusive community values. We are a diverse nation, founded on principles that protect both freedom of religion and freedom from religion. The separation of church and state is not about hostility towards faith. It is about ensuring that government remains neutral so that people of all beliefs, including those with no religious convictions, are treated equally within policy and under the law. Religious freedom is best protected when the government does not favor one faith over another or impose religious values on public life. Hence, we must remain vigilant against the efforts that seek to blur the Constitution directed boundaries. Christian nationalism, an ideology that conflates religious identity with political power overtly as well as covertly, threatens this balance, often at the expense of marginal as well as secular community members. Recognizing and acknowledging secular members of this city does not diminish anyone's faith. It simply affirms that we too. I'm so nervous.
You're doing awesome.
Being seen and heard is not a demand for special treatment. It is a call for equal standing. It is a reminder that democracy thrives on diversity and that true religious freedom exists only when no one religion is placed above others or above those who live without one. I urge you to uphold the principles of inclusion and fairness, to acknowledge as well as be responsive to the secular members of this community, and to ensure that our government serves all of its people with equal brevity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before you step away, do we get a name and address?
I got her
Yeah.
name here. I got the address here.
Oh.
I'm so nervous I didn't want to.
I'm so sorry.
I'm so nervous I didn't
Just
want
for the record.
I'll get better. Thank you.
to. Fine. I just didn't want to interrupt her. She was too nervous. So. Anyone else wishing to speak for public discussion? Seeing no one, we'll close public discussion. Approval of the consent agenda is revised.
Move approval of consent agenda items 1 through 11.
That was support.
Support.
Any changes, dissension, discussion? Items from 1 through 11.
Just think in the future we should force the businesses we give a license to be here.
Well, it's getting hard to do.
Other than that,
Well, thank you for your comment. And it does, we did pass, if you haven't heard, the new Boozy's Bar and
We do have one of the new businesses here. Do you want to step up to the microphone and introduce yourself?
ask and you shall receive.
There you go.
It's a free commercial. Come on up.
What business is this? Veterans Auto Repair.
Yeah, we currently have a location in Madison Heights as well, but we're trying to join over here to you all. Never been
Okay.
to one of these before.
Are you guys right on John R?
We was, yeah.
Yeah.
We're on.
An 11 mile.
11 mile.
I'm at the location in Madison Heights. I feel like I've driven past it.
You
Yeah.
probably have the big white and blue American building. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, welcome to the city of Hazel Park.
Tell us about your business.
Yeah. I mean, we service all makes and models for everybody. I mean, we're just looking to, we do a lot of work with veterans. We help them out, getting them back on the road. We do a lot for the community as well. Yeah.
What's your address? You have a business in town now?
We just rented a building here in DeQuinder.
Yeah, 21941,
Okay.
DeQuinder Road.
All right. Well, thank you.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you.
Welcome to Hazel Park.
Welcome.
That's hilarious.
Boozy's Bar is, like I was saying, just opened up a couple weeks ago for a soft opening, and now they got their business license. If you haven't been there, try the food. It's really good. Drinks are really decent. We have one of our, Rick Van Dackley has spent his own money trying to open up a new restaurant in town here with a couple of stores. He's trying to turn our town around, helping us get a little different diversity within businesses in our city. And we also have a new business license for the Health and Soul Vision Wear at the Soul Cafe at 21670 John R. And that should do it. Takes us to the administrative reports. Item 1.
Mr. Mayor, the administration respectfully requests approval of the proposed sign code amendments. Mr. Finkley is here in the audience if you have any questions on
Motion to
this.
adopt.
I move that we adopt an ordinance to amend Hazel Park Municipal Code Title 15, Buildings and Construction, Chapter 15.44, signs.
Support.
First reading. We got support. Any other discussion, dissension? You want to hear from Mr. Finkley?
I'd love to hear from Mr. Fink.
Mr. Finkley, please come up to the podium.
Thank you for approving that upon first reading there. And I would just clarify that Veterans Auto Repair is a transfer of ownership from Car Code at 21941.
Okay.
So it's not new.
Thank you.
I realize that the sign code is a lot of information along with the zoning ordinance, but there were a lot of references to old zones that will no longer be in use, so we wanted to make sure we updated that. And-
James, could you hit the microphone?
Yeah, sorry. And further strengthen our continent neutrality in the existing sign code.
Anything else you want to add? Any comments? Do you have any questions?
I don't think so at this time. I will say, obviously, a lot of other people have worked on this at the city as well, so it's certainly been, a labor of love for a long time for a lot of us.
Councilman Londo has a question.
No, I just wanted to get you up here.
He just wanted to harass you. But thank you for your time.
Yeah, no
Thank
problem.
you.
And thank you for all the efforts, everybody.
Everybody's work on that.
Thanks.
Well, I assume we'll want you for the next one, too.
Oh, yeah.
Administrative, we have motion, discussion of the dissension. Hearing none, motion passes. Item 2, administrative reports.
Mr. Mayor, the administration requests approval of the zoning ordinance. This is, I'll thank Mr. Finkley for his efforts, as well as many other employees in the city of Hazel Park. We've waited patiently for McKenna to finish this thing, and now we're pleased to present it to you for approval tonight.
I move approval of the new title in Chapter 17.
Any support?
Second.
Support and discussion. Mr. Finkley is standing in front of us.
As someone that previously worked on this,
Would you like to ask him any questions?
I think we asked him last time.
Mr. Finkley, have anything to tell us?
I would like to actually just say thank you to the Planning Commission in particular, as well as Adam Cook and Mario Ortega from McKenna, and to Julie in the Building Department as well. And would this include the slight revision at the bottom of the memo to reduce the parking maneuvering lane width from 24 to 20 feet for 90-degree parking? That would allow parking lots on 40-foot lots.
Gotcha.
Nice.
Thank you.
Can you talk about how this fits into the missing middle recommendations from MML?
Yeah, that really is one of our biggest things that we've really tried to identify. So other than bringing the master plan to this fruition, specifically, we're looking to increase accessibility for duplexes and also other types of housing as well, like cottage houses, accessory dwelling units, carriage houses, and most of the MML's pattern book homes will actually become pre-approved plans under this new zoning ordinance, so we're very excited for that. Some of the other things like triplexes and fourplexes are still going to be behind special land use to make sure that they're not going into areas where they're not appropriate. But really, housing flexibility, I would say, is the number one thing in this new zoning ordinance.
Wonderful.
I know that this reduces the number of zoning areas, units, from like 13 to 6, and I tried to sort of look at the boundaries, but is my understanding that everything is kind of basically within the same types of parameters that it was previously, or are there any like really significant deviations that I missed?
There's not significant deviations. It's more sort of a consolidation. What I would say is the southern portion of John R. used to be kind of split between like the old LBM and LB. So it's now all local business. And the old BC1 and LBM, 8 Mile and South Chrysler, those have kind of been consolidated into one zone because those were always sort of the most flexible zone. And we've additionally increased LB, or local business, along DeQuinder to try to stimulate some commerce versus industry there. And this is all based on the future land use map from the master plan. So.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, James.
Thanks.
And we have all discussion and dissension. Item 2, seeing none, motion passes for the second reading on the zoning ordinances. Reappointments to Board of Review.
Mr. Mayor, the administration requests reappointment of Gary Harrison, Julie Andrzejewski, and Ron Nagy.
So move. Anybody?
Do you
Is that
need
an
to move
appointment
that,
or
or
a
it's appointment?
It's a motion. Reappointments.
Yep.
It's
Need
a
a motion to reappoint.
Move that we reappoint Gary Harrison, Julie,
Andrzejewski?
thank you, and Ron Nagy.
Second.
Dissension, discussion? Motion passes. Old business, none. New business, anybody? Only once. Business communication to department heads. Seeing nobody.
Have anything to say?
Tim, come
Tim
talk.
Young has.
Come talk about water mains.
Well, we asked. Microphone not loud enough? Okay, it's like, just kidding.
Good evening, everyone. Just to echo the city manager about the snow that's coming this week. We have the supervisors, we've been meeting just to discuss it, to make sure everything is in ship shape to get the guys out there, should we need to be. Crew's ready, so we're just monitoring with the storm as it keeps changing. So we're just going to keep an eye on it and see what that curveball is that gets thrown at us at the last moment. So So rest assured, we're ready to go. Had a good meeting with MDOT regarding the 25-year maintenance of the I-75 corridor. Apparently that now has moved into that stage. And I may have gotten them to follow our grass cutting procedures that we enforce in the city for the corridor. So we'll see how that goes. But everything else is pretty good. They're actually very good to work with. So we'll see where we get in the future. And then the home service warranty program, we had a meeting with them, and I'm waiting on some responses. I know of 3 incidences that did not go very favorable. So I'm just asking if any residents have used this program. If they would submit some comments to me, you can send them to hpwater at hazelpark.org. I'm just curious to know how the experiences went for you. Currently, they say that they did do 96 different repairs since the program started. So if anybody's had work done, I'm just curious to see how it went. So, and then the last item is we are going to be doing our Earth Day event again. That's going to be on April 26th. We'll get a flyer out to the public with the next water bill mailing. So everybody within the city will get that as well. So I forgot to bring one.
Here, you want to show it?
Which way's the camera?
That's right on you.
There you go.
On you. There you go.
Incredible.
Thank you, Tim. That was awesome.
Question for you, Tim. What types of parking passes allow you to continue staying on the road during a snow emergency, and which require you to move?
Red Street parking permits, I will read this through one more time, are exempt. Owners of vehicles shall be required to move the said vehicles and clear the snow which has fallen. So basically, as if they have the permit, we expect them to push their car out of the way, push the snow off themselves, and return the car to its position. But other than that, most all the parking are exempt. So you can get ticketed during a snow emergency if your car is not properly parked during our time that we make passes. And it's also dangerous for our guys because it's a lot to try to get our trucks around, and we're trying to get curb to curb because we have to get the snow off the curbs so that the streets will drain when everything starts to melt. So,
Tim, we did have a couple water main breaks over the weekend, and there were some questions on social media. Can you briefly explain why it is that when we end up with temperature fluctuation, we end up with water main breaks?
So the different things happen when we get a cold snap. The ground begins to freeze, and it'll freeze under pavement faster than it freezes up in a grass area. But depending on the severity of the freezing, will determine how far down that goes. Now that just causes stress underground. So you've got this frozen ground that is just pressing as it's freezing, and the water mains are set at about 6-7 feet, sometimes deeper. But when you take away the natural flex of the ground and add 3 or 4 feet of frost or solid ground, you are literally vibrating right on top of these things. So that can be an issue for the mains. When one main break happens, depending on the type of break, it can just cause an energy surge down the pipe, which will seek out and find that next week position in the pipe and actually cause it to break or crack. So, water is actually inside the system is pressurized. So basically think of high energy that once it's released in one area, it's going to rush. So if we have a main break, say in front of your house, the water pressures from every direction are going to race to that opening to keep that water main pressurized, which causes a great amount of energy throughout the system. And that's why you'll sometimes see your sink, if there's a water main break nearby, you might see it go down a little bit and then come right back up real fast. And that's what's happening in the ground. So this type of activity can cause multiple breaks throughout a several-day process in this winter months.
Makes so much sense. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Tim.
Any other department heads have anything to say?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I just want to make a quick announcement to the public that taxes are due this Friday, the 14th. We are closed on Fridays, but if you put them in the box, we will post-date them. We're also actually closed on Monday, so we will do the same, so you got yourself a couple extra days. You can pay them to the city through the until the end of the month, and then they will go to the county, and then you'll have to pay up there, and they will also get fees after the 14th. They'll get fees. And then also the Board of Review is the first 2 weeks in March. You can call Treasury to get the number and specific times. It'll also be posted on the website and posted in the Tribune, and you call the county to make an appointment.
It's Monday.
Thank you.
I'm sorry?
What's Monday?
President's Day.
President's Day.
Day.
She's going to be announcing
It's
it.
made up holidays. Okay. Thank you.
Google probably took it off the calendar.
Amanda Mason.
Yes.
So I just wanted to give an update about snow tickets because that was a very hot topic at City Hall for a while. We issued between 100 and 150 tickets for the businesses, as you're aware, and those are on court right now, the ones that are contested. Lots of people came in, but I am happy to report that today, this morning, when Todd and I went out, because we were down staff, so it was Todd and I, we had 100% compliance on South John R. That is not all the city, but that is South John R, and we had 100% compliance with snow removal. We have more going on. So we had a few bobbles on 9 Mile and Northern John R that we're working with. So thank you very much to...
Trust me, I heard all about them.
Yes, and I'm sure lots of you did. That's why I'm saying thank you. I'm sure a lot of you did get complaints or questions, inquiries, etc. But hopefully what we did is starting to work so that we have walkable sidewalks that are safe for our residents, no matter what their situation. So thank you.
Let's put it back in their court.
Yeah,
How would
blame me.
How would they feel if their mother was walking down the sidewalk and fell?
So, but it it seemed to have worked.
Somebody didn't clear the sidewalk.
Right. So, and Alex, our contractor for Senior Tour Program, is geared up for the snow emergency and ready to go for all of that. We have potentially also something happening Sunday, so that goes through. So, Senior Tour Program is wonderful too.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. Department heads.
Adam Cook from McKenna actually rushed from Ohio to get here. Is it okay if he says a few words about the zoning ordinance?
Sure. Come on up.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim, and thank you, Council. I just wanted to say a brief word, knowing that this zoning ordinance is passed. This is the culmination, really, of work that McKenna has done with Hazel Park, and a really strong partnership with the staff, with the Planning Commission, and obviously with the elected leadership since before the pandemic, starting with the master plan rewrite in 2019-2020. And as we know, zoning ordinance is really where the rubber meets the road in terms of implementing that master plan, allowing for creative development sort of in ways that are unforeseen as of today, but will be in demand tomorrow. And the work that we put into striking this balance, I again want to say a big thank you to the Planning Commission and especially to Jim and Julie as well from the Building Department. We really put a lot of deep thought into this, and we're really looking forward to see what you're doing in the future, and obviously looking forward to being a partner with you in the future, because a zoning ordinance, as we know, is a living document, just like Hazel Park and all communities are kind of living organisms. And just another word to say what a pleasure it's been working with all of you. So thank you very much, and thank you to the residents as well, and everyone who supported us through this process.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. It was a pleasure working with you, too. He's so passionate.
And we have Serene Rapakian from the Rec Department.
Good evening. I just wanted to mention we just had a very successful daddy-daughter dance, very special event at the community center, and that was on Saturday. And then to dovetail Tim with the Earth Day event, that also includes park cleanup, and that's from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. You basically just come to the community center, grab leaf bags, and you can register beforehand for your preferred park, but otherwise just come get leaf bags from us and clean up your parks, and it's a great way to celebrate Earth Day, so thank you.
What day is that again, Serene?
That day is the 26th of April.
I just want to thank you, Serene, for continuing this, because I know I really pushed for this in the beginning and it was a hard press, but it's been so successful every year, and I just really appreciate your hard work on keeping it going. It's such a great thing for our city.
Thank you. And really, what a good way to celebrate Earth Day.
Hopefully this year doesn't rain.
Yeah.
Last year was pretty wet.
It was rainy last year.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Serene.
Any other comments from our staff? All right, City Attorney?
No, Mr.
Swart?
Mayor, thank you.
Thank you, City Manager.
Just to say that, again, while Michigan's system of municipal finance remains fundamentally broken in Hazel Park, we're making sure that we're keeping an eye on what's happening in Washington, D.C. and Lansing so that we can keep abreast of changing political waves and directions and do our best to make sure that we protect the city of Hazel Park. To that note, sometimes I read on social media and people talk about all this weed money we're getting and why is it going to the retirement system? Well, it's going to the retirement system because just a couple years ago, the state's retirement system, MERS, the Michigan Employee Retirement System, which is now a private entity, no longer affiliated with the state, but it is statewide. They changed their actuarial assumptions, resulting in a $1 million plus increase every year in the amount of money that we need to contribute to the pension system. What you need to understand is pension contributions are a no-choice expenditure. What does that mean? That means we have to make them. That means if we don't make them, what will happen in the city of Hazel Park is what has happened in numerous communities around the state of Michigan when that community has failed to make the pension contribution. You get sued and something called a judgment levy occurs, and that means a judge levies on every property in that jurisdiction a brand new tax that goes right to the pension system that you have absolutely no choice in paying or not paying. You pay it like every other tax or your property gets foreclosed. So we're trying to avoid things like that, and one of the reasons why we went into marijuana was to make sure we minimize the impact of that increase, of which we have no control over. Let me say that again. The city of Hazel Park has zero control over the MERS system's decision to readjust their actuarial assumptions. They're required to do that by law to make sure that the pension system is sustainable. So they met their statutory obligations. Now we're required to meet our statutory obligations. What we've done is we've tried to minimize the impact on our residents and our services as much as possible by looking for alternative forms of revenue. So again, if we took every amount of weed money that we got every year, we're still not even close to meeting the total cost of our city's pension contributions. So again, people see things and they feel things after they read something, but sometimes it's important to look deeper into those issues to see what the rest of the story will tell you about it, because again, it's not that great deal of money in the scheme of things, but it has been important to us in meeting those expenses. So just want everybody to understand that yes, there is some money from the marijuana businesses, but it doesn't even meet the increased expense that we were hit with by the MERS pension system. So that's why it's when you hear it's going to our retirement and we don't get to use it for the city or for the schools, or that money gets paid first. That money has to be paid before we pay for your services. That money is a constitutional obligation. We cannot escape it. So I don't know how to say it any differently, but it's not something we have a choice in, nor do you have a choice in as taxpayers. It's an expense we have to meet. So other than that, we have a lot of cool things that are happening in the city, a lot of interesting and fun fundraising events that I would encourage folks to attend and participate in. It's fun to meet your neighbors and come out and become active in the city of Hazel Park. We always love to have volunteers show up at things like Earth Day and park cleanup events. Thank you very much, Mayor and Council.
Thank you. Councilperson Sullivan.
I want to first thank the Secular Alliance of Michigan for coming out and speaking today. I think that appropriate representation for any and all religions is vitally important in these current times. Not everybody believes what everybody else believes, and it was nice to hear from a different side of the globe there, a different side of the coin, I should say. Speaking of coins, I love pennies. Just want you all to know that. I also want to remind people about,
Thank you.
about snow safety. Well, because we are not going to be making them anymore. So if anybody wants to give me theirs, I'll take them. I want to remind people about snow safety. As a dog walker myself, there are ways to be safer when walking in slippery conditions, and one of those is to walk like a penguin. So if you are out and about and you feel that it is slippery, remember to scoot your feet. Don't keep them straight ahead. I've got some posts coming up about that on social media. And check on your neighbors, especially in these cold temps. Make sure that your heat is on so that you don't have to worry about your pipes freezing, because that can be very dangerous as well. If you're using space heaters indoors, make sure that your batteries are up to date in your smoke alarms. And like I say every meeting, if you need a smoke detector, you can contact our fire department. They will give you a free smoke detector, and if you so need, they will also come out and help you install it. And that's it. Stay safe.
Thank you. Councilman Londo.
Want to echo my colleague's sentiment, thanking the Secular Alliance of Michigan for coming out today. Always really grateful to have different viewpoints and different community groups come out and share their perspective. If you fail to plan for the snow emergency, then you're going to plan to fail. There is an obligation in our ordinances that your sidewalks and everything are cleared within 24 hours. We've been experiencing a lot of weather lately that has required action from homeowners and businesses, so it's going to continue getting worse. So please make sure that you have somewhere to park. If you are unable to shovel, please ask your neighbors. Check in on your neighbors, particularly those with disabilities or the elderly, just to make sure that every sidewalk, as much as possible, is cleared, so that our residents that do walk to public transportation have safe passageways. Happy birthday to my niece Aurora. I got to see her on her way down to Cincinnati, and I'm happy to report that she is still cancer-free, but she was very yeah, it was nice to spend time with her and her mom and my sister's husband and their newborn. But Aurora just wanted to say thank you to everybody. She wanted to say hi, Uncle Ed, and just very grateful for the way that the community showed up for her. I want to shout out my wife in case I'm not here at the meeting next month. My wife is 35 weeks pregnant and just really holding it down at home, and she deserves all the flowers. Every time we pass a budget, I feel like I say a budget is a moral document of a community. It really represents our beliefs. But on a related note, I think a zoning ordinance really embodies the brain and the head of a community. So Jimmy and his colleague in the back, and Andrea and everybody that worked on this, the zoning ordinance is probably the least sexy part of a book of ordinances. It is hard and mundane, and you all did an extraordinary job, not just updating it for stuff out of date, but making sure that it interplays well with our master plan and then the MML recommendations on missing middle housing. It really, as much as it can be, this is a work of art. And I just wanted to say thank you and congratulations to everybody that worked on it. And then, obviously, we don't exist in a vacuum, and very acutely aware of what's happening at the federal level. If you are a public entity that provides public accommodations, the inane ramblings of an addled president do not absolve you of your legal obligation to comply with the Elliott Larson Civil Rights Act. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilperson Washington.
Hello. I want to reiterate the thanks for the Planning Commission and the great work they've done on the zoning ordinance. As someone that previously worked on that, I know how hard that everyone has worked to get this completed, and I also want to acknowledge Adam's passion and intelligence on everything that comes to city planning and zoning. He's a very smart man. Yes, if you can, think about your neighbors during the upcoming snowfall. That's a great time. My neighbors and I work very well together, and there's a group of 3 of us, and we just kind of shovel when you need to when you get outside. So that's a great way to stay connected with your community and your neighbors, as well as keeping the neighborhood safe and your mailman safe. I'm sure he'll appreciate you. I want to thank Chris, Jim, and Tamara for their time today. I know they left early, but I know that it takes a lot to come up and talk on the microphone. So thank you for your attendance today and sharing the views of the Secular Alliance of Michigan. And as always, what a great time to say publish the Equal Rights Amendment. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And it is a lot of work, and so all I can say is thank you to everybody that had their hands in the zoning ordinance. It kind of does put together what our vision, and it's nice that it has at least the ability to look into the future and things that we haven't thought of. That's one of those things we get stuck on a lot of times. Encourage everybody to come out to the Stop, Drop, and Bowl. It's a lot of fun. It's a fundraiser for the fire department and their charities, and a lot of that money also goes to the Hazel Park Youth Assistance Committee. If you love somebody, tell them, and if you have children, hug them every day and tell them you love them. And thank you for everybody coming out and participating in the democratic process.
Thank you, sir. Thank everybody for coming out this evening. I want to thank the Zoning Board and Planning Commission for their hard work and efforts. They're just volunteers on that board because I was one of them for many, many years. And it's a labor of love and caring about your community, where you live, where you play, where your family's raised, and how you want to see it grow as a community yourself. And seeing it firsthand is my experience through the years, and seeing our community grow and our children graduate high school, then college, and so on, and then they buy homes here, like my kids did. It's kind of nice to see them want to thrive in our own community again and do the same. I do want to make it aware again of our snow removal of the sidewalks. Please, all you businesses and even residents, please think about your mother or your parents walking down those sidewalks, because we are a very walkable community. We have tried to push our community to be very walkable, and it has paid off over the years. A lot of people move here because they like to have the diversity of walking and going to the store and not having to get in a car every time we turn around to go somewhere. Yes, we are creatures of habit and we like to get in a car, but a lot of us are trying to change those bad habits and try to use our feet to go and do things. And it shows, because up and down the streets all the time, I'm on the main road, you see people walking through the snow and trudging through every day, the same people. Then you have spring hits, you see everybody with the kids walking down the sidewalks, going to the store, the gas station, getting a pop or ice cream or whatever. It's very nice to see these. And I want to get back to the other part of, watch the Hazel Park webpage, our city page for snow emergencies. Don't always rely upon the news reports on 2, 4, and 7 or other channels. Not everybody has cable. So be aware of our site as to what you need to watch. And I think that we need to go to an exec session. Oh, sorry.
Mr. Mayor.
I have to, one more thing. I had to say happy birthday to my wife.
Ooh.
On Valentine's Day.
Happy birthday.
Valentine's Day is her birthday, so I get hit twice on the same day, and I've been doing that for years, and I greatly appreciate her. Thank you. Now we can.
You get a break.
Yeah, she gets a break.
You get.
We're going to exec session.
I move that we enter executive session to discuss confidential matters of personnel.
Support.
Any more discussion or additions to that? Seeing none, we go.